No, that was really good.
Oh, I know.
It's just kind of long.
He did bring up an underlying point that's really important, and it's really important as you see the rise of right-wing populist movements across the world, and that is a large collection of lonely, isolated young men who are becoming more and more angry, becoming more and more misogynistic, becoming less and less decent, especially toward women.
Absolutely. You know, the incel phenomenon, I think it's valid. It's not good for society to have.
What is just explain to everybody, what is incel?
It means involuntarily celibate. And this is a real problem. It's been a problem like in Japan. It's now a big problem in America. And look, I think that marriage and women specifically are a civilizing force on men. There's a loneliness epidemic. And I do think kudos to Colin Cowherd, because this is part of the story. I also think, you know, a lot of these kind of right-wing keyboard warrior types are obsessed with masculinity, kind of ironically in some cases. Yeah. And I think that they kind of resent Travis Kelce, you know, this sort of macho guy dating Taylor Swift. And look, I mean, if you saw Jason Kelce...
By the way, that's kind of a checkmate, right? Yeah. Like, that's the kind of the checkmate. You know, these snowflakes are like, oh, I'm so manly. I have a Trump hat on, and my suspenders are all red. And then they see Travis Kelce, and they're trying to say, what, he's not the man? Like, it's just such a total checkmate against all of these.
Yeah, it's insane. And if you saw Travis Kelce's brother Jason at the Buffalo Bills game, where he was drinking 30 beers, you know, shirtlessly, you know, in frigid Buffalo. I mean, good luck casting the Kelces as some woke soy latte drinking pajama boys, right?
Yeah. There we go.
There he is.
Jonathan Lemire had done this up in Foxborough a few times, and they kicked him out. Lifetime ban.
20 beers. I didn't see the fourth quarter.
Yeah. So Caddy, I do want to touch on again. Let's go back to what Colin had said and what Matt's talking about as well. And in Britain, it's become such a problem with Andrew Tate that actually the British government is trying to work to counteract some of the harsher misogynistic statements that have spread among young, lonely British males, just like young, lonely American males.
Yeah, and look, and it's hard to regulate, right? I mean, yes, more regulation could probably be done around the world, but this kind of hate speech amongst incels, Matt's right, that's exactly what they are, spreads in the kind of darkest corners of the web, and it pops up all over the place, and you try and regulate one bit of it and tamp it down, as they're doing in the UK with Andrew Tate, and it'll just come up somewhere else. And because this is global, it comes up everywhere. And I think when you look at what's happening on the right with Taylor Swift, I mean, I just can't see any other way to describe it. It does feel like this is, you know, a talented young woman, and suddenly she gets a bit of attention, and it drives people crazy. But also, Matt, isn't there something else, which is just that they're jealous, that they want to have Taylor Swift for themselves, and if they can't have Taylor Swift, then they're going to do everything. There was a Georgia District Council chair from the Republican Party who called her Luciferian, which I thought was kind of wonderful use of Old English. But isn't that really what it is? You just try and demonize her. You just try and make her look as terrible as possible because you can't
I think that's part of it. I think some of it's envy. You know, somebody on Twitter the other day kind of compared Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift to like the homecoming king and queen at your high school. And depending on where you sat, and by the way, everything goes back to high school, as we know, and depending on where you were in the pecking order, you may resent that. You may not like that. And look, I will say this, though, in fairness, these people who are attacking you know, Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift. I mean, I think there's misogyny here. I think there's a lot of paranoia and conspiracy. I think there's chasing clicks and trying to get YouTube views and hits. But there is an element of truth. Taylor Swift actually does pose a threat to MAGA and to Joe Biden. She sent out one Instagram post in 2020 that got 35,000 new people to register to vote. So this is an insane fight that they're picking with the NFL and, by the way, the #1 most influential, pop star in the world, probably.
And there's another element to this, Matt, which shows you where I don't even want to say the Republican Party, but MAGA Republicans and a lot of that online community you're talking about is because Travis Kelce did ads for the vaccine, for Pfizer, for the COVID vaccine. Aaron Rodgers infamously calls Travis Kelce Mr. Pfizer. That's an insult, I guess, to get a vaccine against a disease that could kill you. So there is that element of it, too, all folding in all these different pieces of that movement, including anti-vaxxers.
It's crazy, and it's something that we haven't maybe fully talked about yet this morning is there is a conspiracy theory that is very popular on the right, on Twitter, on X. Millions of people are seeing this, and Vivek Ramaswamy sort of alluded to this in a tweet the other day, I think Monday, right after the Chiefs won and were headed to the Super Bowl. There is a theory that this is a deep state operation, that Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce are put together. They're not a real relationship. Somehow the NFL has rigged it so that the Chiefs, who, by the way, have gone to 4 of the last 5 Super Bowls, but the NFL has rigged it so that the Chiefs are going to the Super Bowl, and it's all a deep state psyops campaign to beat Donald Trump. Insanity.
It is insanity.
Columnist for the Daily Beast, Matt Lewis. Thank you very much.